So Trey Turner hits a grand slam, and we're hoping in turn he just single-handedly turned around the Nats season. Is that all it took? A grand slam-a-jamma? The Big Cheese Show is going to tell us yes or no, or whatever he thinks. I don't know. Here's Sports Talk.
Live from Newschannel8, this is Toyota Sports Talk.
And welcome to Toyota Sports Talk. I'm Robert Burton. As you know, it's been bad for the Nats lately. So bad that after a 3-0 shutout against the Red Sox on Wednesday, they had a players-only meeting led by pitcher Max Scherzer. Last time the Nats were below 500, back in August of 2015. They were 60-61. Bryce Harper, he can't hit a ball to save his life. But then Trey Turner hits a grand slam last night, and the Nats beat the Marlins 14-12. Sometimes that's all it takes to turn things around. So we're asking you with our question of the night, do you think that's enough to get the ball back rolling? Will Trey Turner's grand slam make it all go away? 703-387-1020. Call us, please. Let us know what you think. Operators are standing by. And let's welcome in Chris Gian, WTOP sports anchor, also fantasy insider analyst. Chris, always good to have you on the show, man.
Thank you for asking me, Robert. It's Friday night, two bros talking baseball, football, and life, as you always do. Help me out in terms of my relationship and budding and taking that to the next level as you're a successful married man, and who knows, maybe that'll be me in a couple years.
And you know what? Tonight, you have a break, so we're going to tear up the town. I'm kidding.
I'm not. I'm going.
All right, so back to Trey Turner. Hits the grand slam. Sometimes that's all you need to turn a season around, but it's gotten bad, so bad that they had a players-only meeting. Should we be pressing the panic button at all, or you look at this Trey Turner grand slam and think maybe this is it? Maybe this is the turning point in the season?
I wouldn't necessarily point to just this grand slam. It's really this weekend series as a whole against the Marlins. This is a team that you're better than. You should be beating 3 out of 4 games here or taking the sweep. And that's really just a matter of fact right now is that the Nats pitching staff, which came into the season as one of the strong points, Gio Gonzalez struggling, Tanner Roark struggling. No, they're not producing runs, but I kind of think you can get out of those funks. But when you don't have Steven Strasburg, yes, he's got the rehab starts coming up, but they need to trade one of their pieces in the outfield. They have a plethora of options in the outfield. Guys like Michael A. Taylor, who I like, I would love to see him stay around here, but you can maybe get a nice starter. Maybe the Toronto Blue Jays' J.A. Happ is on the market. I just think guys like Matt Adams, who went 4 for 5 last night, he's a great hitter, but you have guys like Adam Eaton sitting on the bench every other game who are capable of playing every day. Because you just kind of have too many hitters. You need more starting pitching. Jeremy Hellickson, he's not going to cut it for this entire season as the 5th starter. So pitching went. Look at the Houston Astros last year. They got Justin Verlander along with Charlie Morton, Lance McCullers, that staff. They tore it up. And they got Garrett Cole now, too. I don't think anybody's beating the Houston Astros in Major League Baseball. But if you want to see the Houston Astros, you got to get better pitching.
So Steven Strasburg, how bad do they need him right now?
They need him badly because after Max Scherzer, you just don't feel really comfortable with any of these guys when they take the mound. I mean, Gio Gonzalez was supposed to be that reliable 3rd starter, 2nd starter when Strasburg goes down, and he's getting lit up every time seemingly he's out. He's pitching tonight. We haven't seen, we'll see how he ends up against the Marlins, who are a decent hitting team, but nothing special. But they need Steven Strasburg back. You need that 1-2 punch, especially in the postseason when you're in like pivotal games and late in a series where you need shutdown guys. You need 2 great starters.
Okay. From pitching to hitting, Bryce Harper had a terrible June. He needs to get going right now. It's especially you're talking about this. This is the face of your franchise. He's supposed to be an all-star. If he had a better batting average, he'd probably be in the home run derby. We just don't know if that's going to happen. What's been going on with this guy? His funk has been ridiculous lately.
I think it's a mental thing with him. We don't know what's going on inside of his head, but I think he's pressing. He's just trying too hard. He knows that the contract day that where he's going to start getting offers is coming up, and I just think he's just trying too hard. And it would help if he had an improved attitude. You and I were talking before the show, and if you embraced the city of Washington, maybe during the Capitals playoff run, which I've been bitter about since. We get it. You're from Vegas. You didn't need to rub it in our face. I don't know. I hope this team does not pay Bryce Harper at the end of the season. He's done a lot of great things here, but the contract he's going to command, even still, some team is going to pay him.
Of course.
I think there's just with Juan Soto, Victor Robles, and the talent you have, young players, I just don't think you need to allocate that much money towards a guy like Bryce Harper.
So let's say Bryce Harper does get on the home run derby team.
Yeah.
And our producer mentioned this. Maybe he just needs to go to the plate, swing, and just not think about things.
Yeah.
Could that possibly help him in his funk right now?
I've seen more examples than positive examples of guys when they go to the home run derby and then they crank out these pitches that are thrown at 70 miles an hour. Then they come back to life after the All-Star break and they see 95-mile-per-hour pitches with movement, and they go into funks. So I wouldn't advocate for Bryce Harper. I would advocate for him taking a vacation for 3 days. Sometimes you come back.
Yeah.
I went down to Key West a couple of weeks ago, came back, was feeling good.
Yes.
Maybe that's something he needs to do, but certainly with the All-Star game here in D.C., that's not going to happen. He's going to be part of the festivities. But I think he needs a couple of days, maybe a little vacay.
Key West is always a good idea, whether you're going for business or for vacation. All right, so Zimmerman. How bad do you need him back? You talk about not just the face of the franchise, but the leader also, maybe in the locker room, sort of next to Max Scherzer, probably 1A and 1B, as far as leadership goes. Do you think he's having any effect on the national sliding right now?
I do kind of think so, yes. I mean, let's face it, he had a breakout season last year at his tender old age. When we're talking about Major League Baseball players in the post-steroid era, guys that are in their upper 30s aren't exactly getting on base all the time. But Zimmerman really was a great player for this team, a pivotal player in their playoff run. And Matt Adams is a certainly adequate first baseman. He went I mentioned he went 4 for 5 last night. But you mentioned the leadership aspect. I think something like that is important in a locker room, a veteran presence who's been in the game, been with this organization for a number of years. It would certainly help to have him back. And I think even if he plays every third day, pinch hits, just getting in the dugout is important for this team.
What are your thoughts on Davey Martinez? Because after that loss on Wednesday, and I didn't like that reaction right there. Because after the loss on Wednesday, he told the media, look, I can't hit for him. Okay, but I'll be at the batting cage trying to work out things every day. I'll go home and try to figure things out every single day, but I'm not giving up on my guys. But when I said, what do you think of Davey Martinez, you took a deep breath, Chris. Why is that?
Because every time I watch his post-game press conference after a loss, he's essentially saying the same thing. Oh, we're close. The guys are trying. I see them in batting practice. We're trying. I know baseball is not an in-your-face kind of sport where the coach or the manager is yelling at you to motivate you.
Right.
But come on. Get some sense of urgency into these guys that what they're doing, losing, is not okay. You have the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies. I know when I was coming over here, the Phillies had a big lead over the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are a capable team with pitching and hitting, and so are the Braves. So you just, I don't know. Can they call Dusty if the slide keeps coming back and say, listen, we made a mistake. Let's all call it even. You finish out the run, take this team to the playoffs. We'll put a statue outside the stadium.
And we got a pack of toothpicks waiting for you. All right, stick with us. When we come back, we're going to change gears a little bit, talk a little fantasy football. Who should you target this season? And who should you avoid? That's coming up next. Welcome back. Here with the Big Cheese Show, who's also a fantasy insider analyst. Talk a little football. He's got some breakouts and some busts for this upcoming NFL season. You're talking fantasy here, starting with Case Keenum, who is a breakout for you.
Yeah.
And why is this?
Well, really, I've been participating in a lot of drafts the best ball format's really taking off in fantasy football, where you essentially draft a team. You don't set your lineup, but you can really, if you get some nice value guys, really take advantage of the competition and get paid out at the end of the year. And where Case Keenum's going right now, he's like the 23rd, 24th quarterback off the board, going after guys like Mitch Trubisky, who I watched him look into the eyes of Darius Slay of the Detroit Lions and throw a football to him not once but twice late in the season last year. He's just too young. He hasn't developed quite yet. And Case Keenum is not young. He's been in the league now for a number of different years, and he broke out last year. I think he can continue to do so in a Denver offense that has the weapons in Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas. They has a good running game, a better offensive line that can protect him, a tight end, Jake Butt, who is 100% now. So I just think where you can get Case Keenum late in your drafts is somebody that I would stash and be able to play on a basis. Maybe you draft like, I don't know, Cam Newton, and he has a bad matchup, or he's a running quarterback. He's mobile. His possibility of getting hurt. A guy like Case Keenum would be a perfect backup.
All right, so a guy that I really like, and I've been a fan of for a while now, former Redskin Ryan Grant.
Oh, yeah.
You like him as a breakout player.
Yeah.
Why do you like him?
Well, let's face it, if Andrew Luck is truly, I don't know that it'll be 100%, but if he's playing week 1 for the Indianapolis Colts, and his balls do have enough zip on them, he is the wide receiver 2 in that offense. T.Y. Hilton is going to get a lot of double coverage, and I think that opens up opportunities for Ryan Grant. When Ryan Grant was here, think about this Redskins receiving core. It was pretty loaded when it came to just the names on there. Terrell Pryor. They had guys like Jamison Crowder, who's still there, Josh Doxson, the tight ends, Vernon Davis, Chris Thompson catching balls out of the backfield. Ryan Grant was almost sometimes a forgotten man, but every time I saw Kirk throw him the ball, he was catching it and making plays for this team.
I'm right there with you. I thought this guy was probably one of the most consistent receivers on that team. I'm not going to say the best, but the most consistent, because like you said, every time Kirk threw him the ball, he was going to catch it, and he was going to complete the run the best he could. All right, so let's move on to a couple of your busts. And this first one on my list is, I was confused by this. A lot of people could disagree with you on it, but Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You say this guy is a bust. Why is that?
So when I mean bust, I mean as far as if you are drafting him as the number 2, number 3 quarterback, like where he's going in these drafts right now, I don't believe he is going to return the value because I'm going on track records of guys who have torn their ACL. This is now his second torn ACL, and Donovan McNabb, who was in this town. And I'm not comparing Deshaun Watson to Donovan McNabb, but his yards per carry after his ACL injury went from like 6.7 to 4.4. Deshaun Watson relies so heavily on his legs to be effective. And here's another thing. The Houston Texans offensive line is terrible. You would think that they need to protect their best asset, who is Deshaun Watson, your game breaker. And I just don't know that he's going to have enough time to escape the pressure coming into this season. So I would rather go with the veterans, like I mentioned, Brady, Cam Newton, than reach for Deshaun Watson, because people are going to remember those huge monster games he had last year. 5 touchdown performances. I'm a little wary of where he's going right now.
All right, and then moving along, Shady McCoy. You think he's a bust, man? What's going on with that?
Again, offensive line problems. Buffalo is just in shambles when it comes to protecting not only whoever the quarterback will end up, but also the running game is going to suffer. And the fact of the matter is, LaShawn McCoy will turn 30 next year. You and I might be spry 30-year-olds, but when you played in the NFL for a number of years, I start to kind of worry about your longevity and ability to break out of these tackles and stay healthy for a 16-game season. So I am just kind of avoiding LaShawn McCoy, because I think the teams will stack 8 in the box against him and just focus on him as the pretty much only offensive real threat in that Buffalo offense.
All right, 30 seconds. Jimmy Graham, you think he's a big bust. Tell us why.
The Packers just never really have been a team that really relies on the tight end. I think that he has red zone potential to score a good amount of touchdowns, but he's like the 6th tight end off the board right now. I'd rather just drop down, get a guy like Jack Doyle a couple of rounds later, and then pair him up with like an Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
Okay. Coming up, more fun on the way. Up next, a little segment we like to call In Case You Missed It. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this. I bet you can't guess what they're trying to do here. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. It's time for In Case You Missed It. And we're starting with, of course, the LeBron mural. I don't know if you've seen this, Chris, but they've already started with the disrespect in Los Angeles, okay? You see the mural of Kobe Bryant. LeBron James signs with the Lakers. So they put a face over the mural, and this guy is not having it. There's no way he's allowing this to happen.
Yeah, I'd be embracing LeBron James everywhere I could in the Los Angeles area. I think he'll bring a ton of business in there. There's going to be a lot of primetime games, good times, championships. So you better be, I hope LeBron James is on every mural that is available in Los Angeles, because I just think from the economic advantage, it's about to be lit up in LA.
But not over Kobe's face, though. That can't happen.
I think when it's all said and done, we're going to say that LeBron James was a better player than Kobe Bryant. I'm taking nothing away from Kobe. He did a lot of nice things over his career, but
yeah,
LeBron James does it all.
Look, he does, but he will never be the greatest Laker of all time. Moving on. Next up, this is video of a Swiss youth soccer team, and this is what happens when their coach yells, Neymar, you flop. And that seems pretty accurate, right? Neymar was on the ground for about 14 minutes over 2 games. So he might be, and a lot of people thought LeBron was the king of flopping. Wait until you see Neymar. Do you agree, Chris?
Yeah, I just kind of think that if it works in soccer and you're able to extend sort of get your bearings correct, and, flopping, if you're not getting like suspended for it or like embellishment or anything like that, then hey, keep on keeping on. If it helps your team win,
if it works, right?
Yes.
They just better be glad they don't fine for flopping.
Right. I mean, they certainly could, but I haven't heard of that.
That'd be ridiculous. Okay. Meanwhile, listen to this.
Swing, and that's fouled straight back and off my computer. Oh my goodness. That just happened. So my computer is completely cracked. And this just became one of the worst days I have had in quite some time.
So we, the media, always think we're safe from harm. Apparently not. Play-by-play guy for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp had to lay his laptop to rest.
Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
The name is the better story there, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that a great name for a minor league baseball team?
Well, first of all, that's the worst day you're having, is that a baseball. I mean, the story then became about him. He can say now he's getting famous off this video that a baseball hit his laptop. Secondly, I'd imagine that somebody will be taking care of that laptop and getting you a new one.
I'm sure.
Probably, a bunch of cookies and viruses on there anyway from day-to-day use. So, whatever. Look at it on the positive side. You're getting a new laptop, bro.
Oh, man. Okay. And finally, we all strike out in life, but it's how you handle those strikeouts. Kids, don't do what Carlos Gomez is doing right now. Did you see this, Chris?
I did see this, yes. I've seen the GIFs too, like when my dog ate my homework, when I come home from work and all of the beers are gone out of my fridge because my roommate drank them. Different situations arise when you're mad like that. But hey, in baseball, sometimes you need to let out your frustration. Maybe Bryce Harper, maybe if he did that, you want to talk about a season turnaround.
Yes.
Bryce Harper should take some of his frustration out on a Gatorade cooler.
Rip up the cooler, man. You play softball. Have you ever had a moment like that?
No, because I don't want to get kicked out of the league. The umpires certainly do not like. We've played WJLA's team before, and it's gotten testy. But at the end of the day, I've had to keep my cool, and we always have good games with you guys. I don't know why you don't play. Look at you, you're 6'4".
I'm not an athlete, Chris.
Oh, come on.
I'm not an athlete, okay? I'll stick to basketball, and that's it. I don't want to embarrass myself, okay? Anyway, we'll go to break. Coming up, some final thoughts from Chris. Yeah, I'll never be playing softball anytime soon. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back. Finally here with the Big Cheese Show, Chris G on WTOP. We'll end on the NBA. You've seen all the free agency news.
Yep.
You've seen LeBron's going to LA. You see DeMarcus Cousins going to Golden State. And then the Wizards sign Dwight Howard. But we'll start with DeMarcus Cousins, an all-star, another all-star who joined pretty much an all-star team. What do you think about this? Are you upset with the NBA that they allow this to happen?
No, because I think DeMarcus Cousins did have really no other suitors at this point. The
True.
Achilles tendon injury not only is horrific when it comes to football, really anything when you're an athlete. And I think that he is probably not totally healthy from it and won't be until the playoffs time comes around next year. So, hey, make a case for your team as to why somebody should sign. I don't really have a problem with this. I mean, Golden State's building a championship caliber team for years to come. And hey, you talked about, I saw a tweet from you about LeBron James and him going out to LA.
Yeah.
Guess what? That opens up the Eastern Conference
It does.
for the Wizards.
It does. It opens up the Eastern Conference. But the thing about it is, yes, the Wizards signed Dwight Howard. But they signed Jeff Green, a hometown guy. But you still have Boston, who's going to get better because Kyrie and Gordon Hayward are coming back. And then you still have Philly, a team that's sort of unmatched, besides Boston, unmatched in the Eastern Conference. So anyway, we'll end right there. Christian, always good to have you on the show, man. You're going to tear up the city tonight, right?
You should be coming with me after 11 o'clock, man. Let's hit the club.
The wife is in town. Baby, I love you so much. We'll be right. Oh, that's it. We'll see you next time.